It's 24 again. Remember to like, comment, favorite, and subscribe for more. Today we're getting into a list that I really like because I feel like these games are getting their justice. It's like convicting a mass murderer and him getting 50 to life or 2 life sentences for his crimes. I'm about to convict these video games of their crimes. Now, I should be clear. Not every single game on this list is going to be as terrible as some of them that are going to actually be on my worst games of the year list in December when the year wraps up. These are just games that I think that deserve to be highlighted. 2 of them, again, aren't even released yet. And those 2 are Watch Dogs 2, no surprise there, and Dead Rising 4. Kind of a surprise. It's kind of swept under my radar. I won't include Call of Duty, Black Ops, or Infinite Warfare with a Modern Warfare 3 full game because to an extent the Modern Warfare 3 recovers some of the problems that I think Infinite Warfare will have, and I think that's the fan base. But for now, we're going to talk about Watch Dogs 2, Far Cry Primal, Dead Rising 4, and No Man's Sky. Now, there are worse games than these 4. There's Mighty Number 9, there's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutants in Manhattan, Homefront Resolution or Revolution, and Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, which that's kind of like at the top of the list. It's not a terrible game, but it's definitely not as good as some Dragon Ball Z games that were made almost 5 to 6 years ago. So that's kind of why that's going to be on the list. But for right now, it's Watch Dogs 2, Far Cry Primal, No Man's Sky, and Dead Rising 4. Now, I want to start off kind of at the bottom of the list. No Man's Sky. Pretty much false advertisement. Unlike most of these games on this list, this game implied that you could do certain things in the game that in the final product you could not do. And what was it, Level 10 or whatever the company is called, they haven't really done anything to justify their means. They haven't said, they haven't issued an apology. I think one of the game developers, the game director, said, No Man's Sky was a mistake. No, it wasn't. It just needed more development time. Because No Man's Sky is pretty much you flying around in a spaceship, collecting minerals for planet to buy a ship to get to the center of the universe, which, in hindsight, is a very great concept. The problem is, once you get to the center of the universe, the map, I forgot what it's called, it expands outward again. And it shows, hey, this is one of the center of the universes that you can get to out of like 77 or some crap like that. So you pretty much restart all over again, trying to get to the center. It's just a terrible cycle, and there's nothing to do besides collect chemicals or collect minerals or collect things that can upgrade your ship and can upgrade your tools so that way you can get to the center of the universe. And that's a very terrible concept because what they advertised ship-to-ship combat. They advertised the ability to somehow find your friends in the game. They advertise millions of different species of creatures, and you can't really do anything with that. And on top of that, the aliens that you interact with are kind of useless in the sense that the information that they give you is irrelevant, and you picking a side with a certain alien race doesn't matter. It doesn't. So a lot of the stuff that was going to make the game great wasn't in the game, and it made the game below mediocre. And that's why No Man's Sky is on this list. Because it's below mediocre, it lied to you and me, and it was kind of a half-assed attempt at a really cool concept, which is terrible. Now, Dead Rising 4. Dead Rising 4 looks like a very terrible zombie game, but most of them do nowadays. Dying Light is a pretty good example of a mediocre zombie game. It takes a bunch of different aspects of different games, like parkour from Assassin's Creed. What else? I can't remember a first-person zombie game, but it takes that. And it's very uninspired because that's what they wanted to go for. And it's a shame because a game that came out on the PS3, a zombie game, I don't know if you've heard of it, The Last of Us, came out almost 3 years ago, and it's better than a game that came out last year. So I'm a little bit pissed that Dying Light and Dead Rising 4 are still terrible games. They're still, and it's kind of gotten to the point where you expect the same stuff with zombie games. You expect there to be limitless amount of carnage towards zombies, limitless amount of very brutalic ways of killing said zombies, and really the zombies, they don't provide that much of a threat towards you. It's more along the lines that you can now just, with Dead Rising 4, you now just slaughter just hordes of zombies. I mean, they gave you, or you, the player, the gamer, they give you one of the best vehicles of traversing around the city. And it's a motorcycle with saws on the front of it, so that way you can just plow into zombies. Why? And on top of that, they give you this weapon that's supposed to resemble Thor's like hammer. I think it has a chainsaw in it, or on it. And I remember seeing whoever was playing the game at E3. It may have been the game director or someone who was interviewing the game director, or just someone who's on the team for the development of Dead Rising 4. They were playing the game, and in the span of 2 to 3 minutes, they killed over 100 zombies, and their actual kill count on zombies was like over 200. So they got a third of the amount of zombies that they had killed in I don't know how many times. They didn't show the 200 zombies dying, but they killed a third of that amount in less than 10 minutes. That's boring. We've seen this over and over and over again, and it's getting sick. And I'm getting sick, and I'm getting tired of seeing the same zombies, the same quality of zombie-like game. And Dead Rising, unfortunately, is the concepts that they're introducing are a little bit outdated. Are completely outdated, I should say. Next up, Far Cry Primal. What can I say about this game that has not been said about Ubisoft games and kind of about these 3 other games, or these 4 games? Not Dead Rising. Far Cry Primal is a good example of why Ubisoft will drop the ball with Assassin's Creed and Far Cry. Both of those series, I should have said. The reason why is that Ubisoft has the potential to be exceptionally great. They have the potential of being above mediocrity, above being mediocre. And they don't want to rise to the challenge. They would rather be complacent with making average games than actually putting in some effort and listening to fans, me and you, and making better games. Far Cry Primal was supposed to be a DLC. It was supposed to be $30 or $20 or however they want to price it. It was not supposed to be a full $60 for their game, which is ludicrous, by the way, because it feels like a DLC. It feels like added on content that should not have been made into a full game. And that's what we got. And on top of that, it's a very interesting concept, the whole you are in a primal environment, or not a primal environment, but you are in a Neanderthalic environment, and you have animals that you can control. You have saber-toothed tigers, you have wolves, you have elephants that you can ride, and you're trying to take back lands that other tribes have for your tribe. Very interesting concept. The problem is, like a lot of Ubisoft games, it's poorly executed, and it turns out to be very average in a lot of its areas. But what makes it below average and below this level that people, I wouldn't say that people hold it to, I would say that I hold it to. But the reason why it's below mediocrity is because they have the potential to do great, to be great. And they don't want to do it. And it shows. It showed in, showed in their final product. Last up is Watch Dogs 2. Mark my words and circle this date. It's November 3rd today. It's a Thursday. Watch Dogs 2 comes out in like 2 weeks. I'm telling you right now, without even touching the game, that the game will be mediocre. It will be a shame for me to go out and buy this game. It will be a shame for me to even think about playing this game. But I have to, because I can't lie to you. I have to actually just, and I want to try and capture footage for it. I can't lie to you. I think this game is going to be one of the worst games of the year. It's going to be mediocre, like Far Cry Primal. Nothing in this game shows me that it is going to be above mediocre. Everything that Ubisoft has released on Watch Dogs 2 has been pretty much exactly what they've shown in Watch Dogs, the first game. That was released in 2014, except they've improved on the hacking a little bit. I mean, they haven't done anything new. And the problem that I have with it is that Ubisoft is trying to make the Assassin's Creed series and the Far Cry series better. They're trying to say to themselves, you know what? Our fans have been crying and yearning for better games from us. They've wanted better Assassin's Creed games pretty much since Assassin's Creed 2. And we haven't delivered. Our second game is our best game. That sucks. That's terrible. They want to try and improve their two franchises, their two series that make them probably the most money in an annual and a biennial release. But they're not going to do it. Do you want to know why? Watch Dogs 2 is the first iteration of this change. Well, you've had 2 years to develop a good game, and you can't even do anything competently different. Competently different. It looks terrible. It looks, I mean, I'm happy at E3 that they showed us what the final product will look like. It looks terrible. It looks uninspired. It looks like they're trying to cheat me out of money. It looks like a hustle. And no one seems to really understand that. Like, yes, does it look okay? Yes. But I'm guaranteeing you one thing. The story will be terrible. It will be the one thing that sinks this game. The reason why I didn't complete Watch Dogs, the first game, even though I was like 2 missions before completing the game, is because of the story. The story was terrible. The gameplay is what semi-saved the game. And that looks okay. It looks mediocre, but it looks like it. If they didn't focus so much on hacking, and they focused a lot more on the character, even though I know this is a hacking game, if they focus more on Marcus instead of, you know what, let's try and add in a drone, let's try and add in, all of this useless hacking crap, like your drones being able to put non-lethal explosive devices like a shock grenade or whatever on themselves. If they focus more on the character Marcus, because Marcus looks frickin' stupid, by the way. I don't understand why they have to have this very pedophile-esque look to some of these characters. Like, Aiden Pierce looked like a hobo, and Marcus, he looks like a pedophile, especially with the shades that he wears. He just looks terrible. If they had focused on the character design and on the character, I'd be like, okay, this game, like, for instance, why does Marcus know why does he have such an extensive knowledge on firearms? I hope that's something that they actually discuss on, instead of, like, it's ridiculous that he's a hacker, he's a nerd, he's a troll, and he knows a lot about firearms, because he's accurate with them. Because he knows where and when to buy them, and he kills people mercilessly. A hacker, a nerd, does that. I I don't understand. But I'm telling you, this is not going to be a good year for Ubisoft, especially if they don't delay us. You know what? I don't think any amount of development time will be able to fix this series. Like, the people that have... I think that they need to take the game director from Black Flag and the team, if it's still there, that worked on Assassin's Creed 2, they need to make a new doggone game. They need to make a game that will be inspired instead of lacking innovation and motivation. It's sad to see this ship sink, but it's going to happen. This has been 24. Remember to like, comment, favorite, and subscribe for more. Tomorrow I will be releasing a video on mass media interviews. I shouldn't say mass media interviews. I'm going to be talking about interviews maybe from game journalists that aren't very informed about games. Until then, have a fantastic day. I will see you next time for